Olá, gente, boa tarde. Meu nome é Elisa Matos. Bem-vindos, bem-vindas ao 13º CETED. Só anotar aqui. Nós vamos começar agora a sessão de Estudos Baseados em Corpora 2, então já tivemos uma sessão sobre o assunto. Hoje a gente teria 2 apresentações, mas a gente vai ter só uma, que é a apresentação da doutoranda Ana Luísa Marques. Agradeço a sua presença, agradeço a presença do público também, e agradeço especialmente a presença da professora doutora Paula Tavares Pinto, que aceitou, né, muito gentilmente o nosso convite. Eu vou fazer só uma introdução à professora e aí a gente segue a sessão em inglês. A professora Paula é professora do Departamento de Letras Modernas da Unesp. Ela tem mestrado e doutorado em estudos linguísticos, com estágio na Universidade de Manchester. Ela realizou o pós-doutorado na Universidade de Surrey, na Inglaterra, e hoje faz um pós-doc na PUC São Paulo. É coordenadora do Centro de Línguas e Desenvolvimento de Professores e do projeto English Teaching Assistants da Fulbright, na Unesp. É isso mesmo, professora? Is that right?
Okay. That's right.
Yes, so thank you so much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for accepting our invitation to discuss this PhD study conducted by Ana Lucia and supervised by Professor Daisy Dutra. She was my advisor when I did my master's as well. So thank you very much. I will now give you the floor. Ana Lucia, you can present. Let me add your presentation here. So from now on, Ana Lucia is going to be on the screen and we're going to be backstage. And then when she's, finished with her presentation, then you can discuss it. And both of you are going to be on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And, well, as Elisa kindly introduced me, I'm Ana Lucia Marques, and I am now undergoing my studies for the doctorate under the supervision of Daisy Dutra. I cannot see, I'm sorry, I cannot see my presentation.
Neither can I.
Okay.
Can you?
Let's start again.
Yes, please.
Let's start again.
So that we can, yes. Technology. That's the world.
Technology, yes.
Technology.
We are all bound to accept.
It's the world we live in, this is all expected.
Okay. We want it to be perfect. There's no such a thing. Okay, now, let's see. Is it there?
Yes, and it's loading. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Is it okay? All right. So, my study is I would like to start just saying a couple of things so that those who are watching us and may not be acquainted with corpus linguistics will just find themselves more comfortable with it. My study will focus on specialized corpora for Fundamental 1 kids. This is an entirely different approach I did from my master's. I worked with the teachers of Fundamental, and now I am really having, as subjects of my study, these young learners. So the title is Science and Geography Lexicons in English for Learners in Fundamental 1, a corpus-based investigation. When I decided, why such study? When I decided on this, what I had in mind was that I couldn't find anything on this. You will see that everything I'll be talking about is about young learners in Fundamental 1, and all the research is usually on academic English with university students or secondary students. So, in terms of great cultural awareness and the need for social equity and inclusion in regular schools, English and digital literacy can be the key elements to help reduce the educational differences our youngsters experience while attending the primary school. I refer to mainly to those learners who do not have access to English until much later, well, in many cases in public schools. So, according to many scholars, if L2 teachers or teachers of an additional language could resort to a topicalized corpora in different subjects in English to devise their activities for cross-curricular projects, they would be able to increase young learners' exposure to this language vocabulary in their early school years. So what is corpora? Any body of text that is in a collection of recorded instances of spoken or written language, according to McNary and Wilson. And pedagogic corpora, I just mentioned, is a body of texts to be used in the classroom to support teaching. Text from the learner's course books and or additional text that the teacher may bring into the classroom, according to Willis. And according to Webb and Chang, this exposure could trigger deliberate learning. For example, by working with vocabulary through the completion of exercise and tasks where the primary aim of the activity is to learn target words, also known as intentional or explicit learning. So, after this justification, the aims of this investigation is to start accelerating the young learner's exposure to English at a much younger age than it takes place today. Here I should mention that the NCC has already established, or had established before, I should say, that English should start in the first grade in Fundamental 1. So since last year, this was mandatory, but I believe not all schools have been attending to this aspect, especially because of the pandemic. So my aims is to build a pedagogic corpora, I built already, with level appropriate contents and investigate the most frequent L2 vocabulary worked with in science and geography in 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. Also devise and implement corpus-informed activities, data-driven learning tasks, and I'll talk about this, that could serve as models for Fundamental 1 school teachers. My research questions are, which are the most frequent topic-related content words within and across science and geography in those levels or in those grades? What are the most frequent combinations, the n-grams in English, within and across those subjects, levels 4 to 6? And can activities implemented with data-driven learning approach, expand learners' topicalized vocabulary to boost their progress in English? And finally, are the results significantly different from one grade to the others when the same tasks are worked with in the classroom? So at this point, I should mention data-driven learning to those who are not acquainted with the acronym and the DDL I'll be mentioning. And this is an approach, and its underlying concept or constructs are, the teacher would work with authentic language. The learner becomes an investigator of his own learning. And he would approach language inductively to, according to Johns, the one who coined, the scholar who coined data-driven learning approach. This learner, the same learner, as an investigator, he would work with concordance lines taken from the authentic language, which would in turn offer the recurrence of exposure that Cobb claims is very, very relevant. It is also very communicative and fosters grammatical consciousness rating awareness. And this is something I worked with in my MA, and I find it vital in language learning. And finally, if all things work well, there will be learner accomplishment in the end because of his role as an investigator and empowerment, which is a major factor in learning. For the theoretical framework, I have many names of scholars, but I decided to use just some of them because I don't have the space nor the time. So according to Nation, who is someone, an expert in vocabulary learning and teaching, same topic with words grouped semantically into lexical sets can increase the potential for the currents of exposure. So we have here now the beginning, the foundation of my study, because when Nation says this, I immediately think of concordance lines. At the beginning stages, remember, I'm working with youngsters from Fundamental 1 of language learning. A word list could be a lexical syllabus, as the words on the list could serve as a target for word-focused practice. Again, we have here from Law for a Nation, word-focused practice. It ties in with noticing, awareness raising, and also words on the list is something that the concordancers, you'll see in a minute, yield from the platform, from the software, when we ask for the most frequent vocabulary. And Meunier and Rapin say that provided teachers use such Corpora-informed syllabus appropriately, it could give learners a solid foundation. Well, it seems that this is the path to follow. It is a Corpora-based study. So I will really focus on frequency of form and meaning with the keywords, keywords in context, in their concordance lines as the material the learners will deal with. So these keywords, the frequency of them and meaning is the most reliable predictor of what can be most usefully taught at different points in the learning process, including the early stages. And this is what caught my attention. Why not? If the others haven't done that, why not have the experiment here? Let the students experience this. Not only do Corpora make it possible to expose learners to authentic language, but they can actually present them with a large number of authentic instances, the concordance lines, of a particular linguistic item. So it all ties in. One quotation resonates with the next. And we have here, this is the visual idea of my study, a learning tripod. It's not really a tripod, but I mean, a learning, three areas that are very basic. We have the pedagogic corpora, which will offer the contents, and the teacher will just use the contents in the classroom, in a CLIO classroom where English is spoken all the time, using the data-driven learning approach. We'll be saying more about this. So what is the deal? It provides the conditions that allow primary school students and teachers to draw informed, objective, data-driven conclusions about language for the purposes of teaching and learning, crossword and STEL. And CLIO, so both approaches combined, is the content and language integrated approach. It's a very trendy nowadays. It's a buzzword among bilingual schools. So let's get started. The corporate content should be identified, and it was identified using the BNCC guidelines. I chose 2 areas of knowledge, Earth and Space Science and Life Science, and 4 sub-areas, Life and Evolution, Earth and the Universe on one hand, Man and its Place in the World, Nature, Environment, and Quality of Life on the other hand. But that's not enough. We need to really zoom in and find the themes and topics for the material. After really reducing all the topics I came across, you will see how, I decided to choose 25 topics to create the subsets of Corpora. So animals and landforms and communities are the ones I picked for my study. And today I'm just going to talk about communities because of time limitations, restrictions. Here comes the data for the specialized pedagogic corpora. Remember that I mentioned at the very beginning, it should be authentic. And so I picked science and geography, written text from written textbooks, written web, spoken web, in a total of 437 texts. Geography, almost very similar, 459, also from written textbook, written web, spoken web, and that's it. Then you have here, I won't go into that, total number of tokens, types, lemmas, mean number of words, so on and so forth. And this is the interface. Remember, we need, I mentioned at the very beginning that English and the digital literacy are assets of the present and the future. So our students should be prepared in those areas. And I chose Lanksbox from Lancaster University because of its interface. I think it's very, very easy. Of course, it takes a little bit of time, but it's very easy. And teachers would eventually work with it. But I think before that, there is a huge gap between what teachers already know when they use digital material or the web and what we can offer inside concordance. So the ideal situation would be to have the pedagogic corpora available to teachers. They would just get what has been already selected. So here you see on the left at the bottom, towns and neighborhood. This is the corpus I'm going to show you all the examples from. And at the very top, okay, on the right, you have it with the contents, 3,390 tokens, and then types and lemmas. And on the top, you have all the tools that the concordance can offer to the researcher, to the teacher, or to the user. Okay, just reminding you that I mentioned words of frequency. So the greater the frequency of the content words, the best for the learner. So here you have the image of the page after I looked for nouns. So you have all the most frequent nouns. I also have nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And here you have the concordance lines. So for each of these nouns that are most frequent, if I pick one, I can find suburb is here, suburb is here, and I can pick one and have it in its context. As a result, well, the sentences are not complete, but I can expand them a little bit more. But they are sometimes unfinished. But as long as I have bits that make sense, the key week in context will offer more information to the learner than just the key week, right? So the teacher, there was a teacher, I will call her Clara, a very, 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 very qualified teacher who really helped me implementing the activities in her classes, 6 groups of students from 4th to 6th. And she dealt with those concordance lines. So this one is from neighborhood. She also introduced them to the grams, to the n grams, the 3 grams. There were 4 grams as well. So as you can see here, the first one, I just put I chose randomically. I just didn't pick exactly the ones she used. But anyway, in this first group, you have find your way. So this is very good. If you are in the first grade, second grade, or fourth grade, you can really begin thinking with this connected, find your way around in the second one. Different kinds of, you are going to see in the examples I'll show you. Most of them use different kinds of. Imagine this, the first time using English, specific English, not the general English they already have, but more sophisticated because you have a combination, right? A cluster that will help them in the future. So the participants were 147 in total, but then in the end, only 106 were selected because they were the ones who were in the 3 phases, very important phases of the study: the pre-test, the work in the classroom, and the post-test. So 72% of the total. And here you have the learner participation in the activities, the total number of learners. I'm not going to show you all the graphs and tables that I have because it will be too long. But anyway, the most important ones, I think, is to show you that if you see the students in the end, they participated in topic 1 and topic 2. So we had topic 1, neighborhood, topic 2, animals. They had a different number. So let's see. In topic 1, 74% were present, whereas in topic 2, only 56%. And I'm sure in the future, this is one area we have to really give some thought, because the results were different. And according to the exams with the t-test and then Wilcoxon, some rank, it was not really clear at the beginning just with the t-test because they were uneven. The results were uneven. One of the variables was the number of the students in the class. However, the best result ever was with 4B group, because in blue you have the result of the pretest, and in orange the result of the post-test after working with the concordance lines and other activities, because they didn't work only with concordance lines. They had a real lesson with a pre-task. They had a sequence, as in a regular lesson. You have a sequence of activities will lead from activating knowledge until the production of knowledge. So this result was the best, and we were really pleased. The teacher was very surprised with that, because this group had only 3 years of English, being that the past 2, they didn't have anything because of the pandemic. Okay, some of the production in the post-test. if you see here on the left, there are different types of medicine. See, they use the cluster. Find all this that is in red, most of them are clusters she worked with. Find the best road to. Find the best. And then you have, they may have, imagine, they using in Fundamental 1, they may have, they might need. So I think when we see the examples, we are really surprised. We were surprised, the teacher and I, simultaneously. So the quantitative analysis of findings of all those levels, it shows that in 4A, there was an increase of 50% of right answers in the second test. So from 21 to 42%. 4B, there was a slight decrease of 4%. I would disregard because of, maybe we have to take into account the among the variables, the dozens of variables, one is the mood of the student. The other one would be, for example, if they are interested in neighborhood and related vocabulary, or if they prefer animals and all the variety of activities that the teacher offered. 5A, we had a decrease in the production, and a similar number of students, but there was a decrease, so it needs to be really investigated. In 5B, increase of 4%, not that much. 6A and 6B, they had a decrease. 6B, the results were probably very similar. Not probably, they were very similar. But 6A, there was a sharp decrease of 8%. So what can we say about quantitative and qualitative, the analysis, what they show? At the very beginning, it shows the major hindrances to such a project, to such study, to work with concordance lines in the class would be digital literacy for the teacher and for the students. Maybe that's why I couldn't find any study with the youngsters. And of course, in this case here, the availability of specialized corpora, because the corpora was put together for the 6 specific groups. I talked to the teacher, so in my final project of PhD, this is all there. Explained, clarified how it was prepared, myself and the teacher, how I coached her during the whole period, because she was the sole person allowed in the classroom, because the school was in the post-pandemic period. But anyway, I think there was a silver lining after all. The results had a considerable variation between pre and post tests in the quantitative analysis. And group 6A did not show an increase after the treatment. According to the teacher, perhaps it was due to their previous knowledge, because the pre-test already had high scores. So if they had high scores in the post as well, there was no more space for them to get higher scores. So maybe next time we have to change the tasks. On purpose, it was really planned. I wanted all the tasks to be the same because I wanted to see the results. The different topics also offered a different degree of interest by the different groups. Topic 1, neighborhood, had better results than topic 2. The second topic, this is another obstacle here, was carried out at the end of a very tiring semester. This year, it was in June. Some students did not really show up for the post-test. only 81 students out of 147 completed the 3 stages, and whereas in the first topic, 74%. A few other observations here, remarks. The second topic, oh, I said that, sorry. It's a repetition. Only 4A and 6B had a similar number of students taking the pre and post tests. The ideal situation would be all the levels with, full class, but this is sometimes difficult. 4B and 5A had fewer students in topic 2, whereas 5B, 6A, and 6B had a 50% decrease in class attendance. This, of course, makes a difference, and I think this difference is very noticeable. Just reminding those who are watching that the 4th grade had, well, we assume they would have had 3 years of English prior to this period, not prior to the pandemic, but prior to the period of the tests. But of course, during the pandemic, they didn't have probably much. Then 1st grade and 6th grade. And here, I would like to thank you because of restrictions. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if I should wait a little bit for Elisa to say something.
Hi,
Sorry,
everyone.
I didn't hear.
Yes, I am here backstage, and I am following. I was following Ana Lucia's presentation, and now we have a discussion. You can take your time because this was already, a shorter session, but because we only have one presentation, there's no need to rush.
Okay, so thank you. I'd like to thank for the invitation. I'd like to thank Ana Lucia and Dr. Daisy Dutra for the invitation. It's an honor for me. And also to the organizing committee of CETED, right? Seminário de Teses e Dissertações, do POSLIM. Congratulations on the event, and thank you so much for the presentation and giving me this opportunity of knowing your work, Ana Lucia. Congratulations on the work. It's a very, very interesting research that I believe it's necessary in order to add this not only language awareness, but also link language to the content, right? I'm not sure if you can hear me well. Can you? Yes.
Yes, I can. Let me explain. You will see my face with my mouth moving a few seconds later. So I can hear you very well, and I now thank you for everything you said, but there is a delay.
Okay. Yes,
so please.
Yes, and I'm still struggling with the computer, so I missed a little bit of your presentation, but if I can ask you some questions while we are debating, right? And it's the impression that I had when I read the abstract, and now after your presentation, I can see that it seems that you have already finished your work, right?
I have finished, and in fact, I am getting ready for the qualification. So the text is it needs proofreading, but it's all ready. I have finished, yes.
Okay, so I thought it was really nice that you have already had the chance of testing using the concordance lines with the students, which was something that was not in the abstract. So I thought that you were still going to propose something. I thought that probably you were going just to propose how we could use data-driven learning in order to improve course practices. In this case, I think it's English and geography, right? English and geography and English and science. But right now I can see that you have done lots of things. You have already tested it with different groups with 140 students. Is that so?
Yes, Paula, 147 in total, and they were all in the classroom, but if they didn't complete the 3 stages, like the pre-test, classroom work, and post-test, some of them, or many of them, in that topic 2, were not included in the final count. But I do have all the tests, and I do have all the work. It was collected by the teacher. And one thing that I didn't mention, but I would like to mention now, is that she carried out the work in the classroom. She was the sole teacher. So the same instructions, the same order of delivery of the lesson was used, because she was the only one. When we have many teachers, different things may interfere, especially teachers' personality, right, when delivering a lesson. In this case, because I couldn't be there, I said, well, let's try to see the positive aspect of this. They are used to her, so they will be in class without any restraint or anything. And this was what happened. And they use this. You mentioned something interesting. They use this English in activities related to geography and related to science, but not but only inside this English class. They didn't use yet in a cross-curricular project.
I see. Okay, that's something important to be mentioned. And then, Analucia, I'd like to know a little bit about the activities that they did. Did they go to a laboratory, or did they have hands-off activities?
Okay, so let's begin from the beginning. I have it all, and Daisy said she was going to contact you for my qualification. So in case that works, you receive everything, all the activities and everything. Because what happened was I devised the activities. I did this, how can I say, this out of the class work. Students did not touch the computer. They received the concordance lines all printed. There was, they wouldn't have computers for everybody. And I devised the activities in such a way that there is this going up and down in terms of exposure, in terms of awareness raising, in terms of hands-on concordance lines. They received the concordance lines. They were cut, okay, and received. They played with it. Let's put it like that. And I also planned for the teacher different types of activities. She used most of them. There was like a package. She received animals, package, etc., with video, everything authentic language, video, cards, flashcards, bingo cards, so on and so forth. And lots of images, a lot of images.
I see. Okay, because I believe that in our country, it's important that we are able to use either hands-on or hands-off activities
Yes,
because we know how students
yes.
are and how schools are, right? So I think it's very, very interesting to know that you work with hands-off activity and you, I like to say the curation, you curated the concordance lines, right? Because
Absolutely.
it sounds
You,
nice and fancy to me.
no, it's not. You're going to see there is even a quotation. I think it's by McCarthy, who said, we need to mediate the key weeks, the concordance line, so that the teacher knows what she's doing. And this is in my text. I mentioned that. I curated everything from the
Yeah.
books, the textbooks. They are American, and I curated the contents as well so that the 25 topics would relate to the Brazilian culture, diversity, interest, etc. So everything that was only related in those textbooks to the American culture, I skipped. I just used what was general. For example, in landforms, I have a whole package of landforms. All the mountains, I have the names in English, but the mountains are in Brazil. The forest is a Brazilian forest, yeah, and so on.
That's wonderful, Ana Lúcia. So how long did you have to prepare this material? Because it seems a lot.
A lot. Well, let's put it this way. Take into account this moment in my life. I retired. I only work with one group of qualification, Cambridge qualification for teachers. I have a lot of time. So I started at the beginning of 2020, so 3 years, and I worked a lot during the pandemic because it was, believe me or not, very positive for my study because many sites were open, sites aimed at Americans or British. They were open without myself having to really subscribe to have access. And so I thought it was an opportunity to really include more material. And it was it was a very meticulous work. It took me a long time, especially because I had to scan the pages, transform them in TXT through Google Docs. I would go and yes, and then finally organize them in folders.
Yeah.
I really had fun. It was hard work, but it was not boring at all.
I see. And in this sense, I can see and I understand because I worked a lot during the pandemic period as well. Although it was a sad time for work, it was very productive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which seems that it's your case. I'm gonna go back to asking about the activities, but before that, you said that the activities were they were in levels A1 and A2. Is that right? That's the level
Yes.
of activity.
Yes.
Did you come to this conclusion because of the material itself that was targeted to A1 and A2 students, or did you do any kind of study using, for example, COB's website that gives you the level, that rates the level of difficulty?
Okay, that is a very, very good question. If there is anyone watching us, because most of the people I work with who are teachers don't know about this. There is a site that you can really have your, well, nowadays there is a site for everything, but there is a site, Vocab Kitchen. You just copy paste the text there, and immediately you see the level of the text, not the text as one block, but the words. So I consider texts which were adding A1 and A2, 75% of the text.
I see.
Because then there would be, there will be another curation. And I tell you when. Because when the concordance yielded the most frequent nouns, the teacher also had to analyze. She would tell me, Ana Lucia, no, I don't think this is going to work with them. So I would ask her which words were more appropriate for for the group, and which words would tie in again with their curriculum maps. I didn't want to really cause any disruption to the sequence she already had planned. So, but there are some other ways of having of measuring the level. For example, in the textbooks, it's easy. They tell you. So,
yeah, that's what
the loose articles are more difficult. For example, from National Geographic, they are wonderful, but most of them, the level of English, the proficiency is high. It's not A1 or A2. It goes up. It's usually B2.
Yeah. So it's very, very nice to see how you dealt with the levels. There are some, as you said, the material comes with the level already mentioned. And I remember now using levels. They have the same piece of news, but in different levels, right? And I'm not sure if you have already used this material, but you can see how complex the vocabulary changes with the same piece of news, right?
I have to admit, I'm out of the classroom for some time, but I'm always acquainted with what the teachers do because of this course, the CELTA course, that I'm the main tutor. But I'm acquainted, yes, with the news level. This is excellent for the students and for the teachers.
And I thought of that now that you were talking about how you found out the levels of the material, that maybe, I don't know how this would be, but it's interesting to think about different levels of material and then using this material with data-driven learning, right? And now I'd like to know a little bit more about the activities itself, because you said, I'm sorry, because I came off and I came on again. I think I missed some information, but could you tell me how exactly the students work with the concordance lines?
Okay, so I can tell you. Let me ask, maybe I should go, let me open here something that you can see. Elisa.
Yes, I was going to suggest that if you want to project your to share your screen so that we can see, maybe you can go back to a slide or something. All you have to do
I'll
is
go back to other slide.
Yeah.
Can I go to the drive?
Yes,
Can I go to the drive?
You can share whatever you want, and then I'll just project it to the screen. Yeah.
Okay, so give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'll be fast this time. Okay, Paula, just a moment.
Okay.
Yes.
We have time. So I mean,
yes, I was going to ask you, how much time do we have?
No, I'm available, and if Professor Tavares is available as well, It's 3 p.m. now, so I was, usually when we have two people presenting, then it's a 1 hour session. But for me, I mean, you can take your time and use this, take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes, please, please.
I do have another session, but it's at 4. So yeah.
And I'm still
Okay,
trying to get in with the computer. I think I'll be able now because I turned off everything. But anyway, we can go on. Ana Lucia, if you can show me.
no. Yes, okay. I will. And yes, I will take advantage of your expertise to help me out. I'm trying to open now. It's my computer. I'm trying to open. It is coming. Okay. If it doesn't open in the drive, I have it on my desk. I think, well, again, I don't know why it doesn't open. See? Okay, let me go to a second source. No, I'll show you. Second source. This, yeah. Okay, Paula, you will have, I'm calling you Paula, but with all due respect you deserve. Oh, here, let me go back. I'll show you something different because the drive maybe is the connection is not opening properly. I will now say here, present. Okay, share. Window, yeah. I'll share from a different, let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. See, this is all had been uploaded to Drive. Can you see here? Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3.
Yes, I can.
So this was the beginning. This was my own folder on my desktop, and I would send to the teacher this. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. So well, why doesn't it go? Can't I open here? No. No, a little bit bigger. Is it possible?
I can't really do anything.
How can I open? No, how can I open the folders? I have to open on my desktop, haven't I?
Yes.
And then it will change. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Can you see, Paula, what I did?
I see the activities, right? Pre and post.
Yeah, no, I will show you. Yeah, she would receive this. Lesson 1, neighborhood complete. The tests are here. I'll get to the activities you asked me, just to show you.
Take your time, because here it's slow as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to see. Maybe opening a door here. The internet will. I have no idea why it is.
I think it's because of the StreamYard. That might be.
Maybe. But anyway, okay, let's see if another one. Well, let's see the activities. Here. Well, it's Word. Should open.
Yeah, it's gonna open.
Anyway, well, the tests are here. Materials of that were curated are here. The concordance slides. Oh,
Anna,
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
changing now.
loading.
Or no?
I think it's loading.
Yeah, now it's loading at 210. Because I opened too many things. I've really made this mistake before. I have to
no,
admit.
it's okay.
Well,
So you sent this
no,
package.
we can go on talking, and we would first. I talk to see. I need to turn off all of this. Because
It's okay if it doesn't
okay.
open, because I'd like to know, for example, I can see
No,
that
but
there is. I can see that
okay.
there is
One
some
thing
additional
opened.
material.
Yes. What I did. Oh my goodness! I keep turning off. Oh, can you see the test?
No, I
Yes.
can see.
Can you see the test?
Okay, it's coming.
Not yet. Now everything is open. Yes.
Yeah, not the text. I can see the folder. But for example, I
Still the
remember.
folder.
Yeah.
Just a sec.
Folder.
I'll go back there. Okay, here.
Because
I think this is what you want to see.
let's see.
This. Let me start again. Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second, please. I'll come back
Anna,
here.
we can only see the folder with the files. So perhaps you can open the files that you want to show,
Yes.
you want to share, and then we can share that screen.
Oh, this is what I'm trying. I clicked so many times.
Okay.
That opened 10. Oh, God.
At once.
Oh, look at this. Look. Everything open.
Last
Oh,
week
this is repetition. So
I was going through the same issue, but it's okay.
well, one day this will be solved. Okay.
There we are.
Okay, that's it.
Hallelujah. See? First, in my text, I explain this is recognition. Then you have, there is the rationale, why it's like this. My goodness, why so many other things? What is this? You went wild. No, I'll start again. Just a second.
Okay.
Don't give up. At least.
No, don't worry. I think she left.
I think she must have closed, a window or something. And then she just disappeared. She's probably coming back. Let me just, say hello here at WhatsApp to let her know that she's, she's not in the studio right now. Ana Lucia.
And if there is any link to watch the discussion. Now I'm here by myself. If there's anyone watching, I can sing. Let's see what happened. I wish I could see if there's anyone watching.
I think we're now all back. For some reason, my StreamYard just closed out of. I mean, I didn't really, do anything. Like I didn't touch a single, button or anything.
I had the same problem. I tried to share, and during the webinar, I asked the interviewer like 3 or 4 times, how do I share? And then you are already sharing. You just have to click. But because it's different.
Okay. See, I'm back.
Yes.
Elisa, StreamYard just let.
I know, the same thing. I thought you had closed something. You had probably hit something.
No.
Like maybe a button, and then the same thing happened to me. So yes, I get it. Don't worry.
So
Whenever you're ready.
Start. No, I'm ready. I'm just gonna see if I have at least the test to show here, because at least I'm happy because Paula saw that I did my work. There was a test there. There were many things, and all of a sudden they vanished. So let's see. Let's start again. Present. Okay. I'll go careful now. Share screen. Share. Okay. At this moment, I want a window. See how many things? Millions. Oh, God. Okay. Let's begin here.
Okay.
Now, yes.
1 second, because I have to add this to the screen. Otherwise, we can't really see what you're describing. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Paula, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Paula?
you and I can see.
Daisy.
Yes.
Daisy is watching us.
Oh, I see. That's great. That's great. I can see your material.
Okay, so see, possible concordance lines with nouns. So once the keywords were selected by the teacher, I would produce the concordance lines for her using the length box. See?
Mm-hmm.
And I would copy here. So they were enlarged. See? Another possibility. See?
Yes.
There are pages and pages of this, choosing one. The chunks, they had been used like this. Either they would get one line or a group of concordance lines with this recurrence of exposure. See, look, I like this. You see smoke coming from a house across the street. So students were exposed to English in a way that they had never been exposed to before, right? And this is one thing. Let me stop this and show you
What exactly did they have to do? Did they have to read the concordance lines and ask some and answer some questions?
They had, yes. The teacher would elicit from them. They would have to try and read. Before they actually came to this point, they would, let me just close here. And then I'll open another one. She would work with the key weeks, showing them a video, because then you would have the context, visual context. They would, visualize. After that, they would use this concordance lines to see the neighbors, what comes before, what comes after the word. If the teacher, yes, so the grammar the awareness, the grammatical awareness raising. And also, she would point out using pictures. Again, she had cards. I had cards, flashcards made for the 3 topics she was going to implement. And the cards were beautiful. And she would say these sentences. She would grab the sentence, say the sentence, show the card. For example, the school. The school is next to the park. There are different ways to get to the school. And at the end of the lesson and later for homework, she would ask them to produce their own sentences using what made sense to them. You know, the meaningful, they would use the key weeks. Many didn't use the key week in 6th grade. They would just write their own sentences because they had already the knowledge, as I mentioned. But she would ask them to produce sentences, making them true to their own reality.
Okay.
Like, there are different ways to get to the school. I live far from the school. Things like that. She would really elicit from them, but at the same time, she had exposed them to the bits she wanted. Have I answered?
Yes, you have. Because
there is
we
something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is something else.
Go ahead, please. No. Go ahead if you want to ask me. No, there is a test if you want to see. Would you like to see the tests? No, I don't know.
I would like to see it, because why am I asking you this, Ana Lúcia? Because we have been working as well with corpus linguistics competences for teachers and for students, because we are not sure yet how much students are able to get from reading the concordance lines, like how much exposure should they have with the concordance lines, because some of them don't even understand what they have to do, because there are many sentences and they see that, some of them, up until now, myself, I have been working with future teachers. So I'm working in a teacher training program. But my students, my supervisees, they have been in the classroom. And we have been discussing that, how much exposure, and I believe that some of the specialists in data-driven learning, from what we have been following on some webinars that I'm not sure if you have already been to, I would strongly recommend you to participate, because there are several specialists who have talked about different fields, but data-driven learning, corpus linguistics, but there's no answer yet to how much and when do we include the concordance lines in the classes, And then I have been even suggested by a professor from Araraquara that maybe we should have those cognitive tests, or even record the classes to see what students are saying, if they are really acquiring and learning by the concordance lines or by what they have done before and after,
Can I say something very objective?
Yes.
I think whichever approach you use that called their attention, because I worked with noticing before, they will learn the same way. It doesn't have to be one approach specific. The idea of DDL is because it works with the concordance lines. Mm-hmm. But the concordance lines, you can really show them and show the text, because the links box, if you click, there is text, there is the tool, and you have like 3 or 4 lines, because those texts are very short. the ones I got from the textbooks. So the students would really benefit from having the whole picture, let's say, of the Q week, if you know what I mean. Not just the concordance line. But then you can say, oh, but if you use the text, you are not using only the DDL as such, etc. No, I'm not. My core wish for the whole study was to build the pedagogic corpora. I was really into that. I really wanted to produce something that then inside that, let's say, that corpus, the teachers could resort easily and get the words they wanted in the specific contexts, the same level. But the approach itself can go beyond not only DDL, but something else. They can work with the texts. I think, and I just noticed that the teacher is also here observing. I noticed that it's really fun for the students if you change something. For example, those, strips of paper, something different. And you can attach this on the board. I love different things like this. You can put on the board, you can connect to other things. And yes, other activities will help as well. We cannot separate this. And I think DDL was never meant to be DDL alone. Was DDL with, at least that's my understanding. I don't know if maybe I'm not entirely correct, but I think that the DDL associated with something else that fosters more awareness raising. And if you were dealing with adults, that's very, very good, because kids sometimes they are easily distracted by the strips of paper or by anything that is fun, right?
Yeah, and also these activities now lead to the pre-test and the post-test, right?
Absolutely, so, yes. They're in not through test. I'm sorry. They lead to the post-test. They were tested on one day that they were not aware they would be tested. The teacher distributed the test, saying they let's see, asking them they should do what they could. If they could, they should complete. So there are different types of tasks.
That's what I would like to know.
And then she worked with them, and then she again administered the same test 10 days later. I admit this is not enough. Maybe another post-test would be for a longer term retention of language. But for the time being, I think it was a start. Nobody had done this with kids. So I'm happy because of that. Even if I can, and I hope, I know I have to improve a lot. We always improve after, experimenting with something. But the initial results were very promising, very promising.
You included in your abstract Peter Crosswaite, who has been working with girls in grade, right? I'm not sure exactly how he has been doing that, because I have been reading something else that he does. I have a supervisor who is working on that specific research that he has been publishing on. But would you say that there is a relation between what he's doing with the girls and what you have been proposing? I'm not sure.
Well, no, I understood, but I don't know if I know what he has been doing with the girls. How old are they? I don't know if I understood.
They are young. I think they are in elementary or secondary school.
Oh, yes. The secondary group, yes, I read. I have the book, etc. I admire him a lot. But he hasn't worked with younger. So they are similar in that he's also working with concordance lines, Q weeks, etc. But always with grammar. And my point was vocabulary.
I see.
Even though n-grams, you can consider grammar if I mean, but anyway, my focus was vocabulary. And that's why I have so many quotations in that direction by nation, by others, because Cobb, Shang, etc. Because I think vocabulary is again my vision of the process. Vocabulary is the beginning, and then the kids will just put together the other parts of the sentence. So I decided to do something that was not too tiring for them, but it was such a difficult year for the teachers because they were just coming back to school. The schools were still under restriction, so not much could be done out of the ordinary, you know.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to, the test is here. Where's the test? Let me show you. No, you can please ask me more questions if you have them.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because of what I have been asked, like, how can you prove that students have really learned by reading the concordance lines? And maybe I would agree with you as well. Something has been done, right? They have been in contact with lots of information by the concordance lines, and it's the beginning of getting more information on using this approach in class.
Yes, what I feel that is important is that by working with concordance lines, number one, it's very time consuming for the teachers to prepare. I know you asked me this question, I didn't answer properly. I don't have any idea how much time I spent preparing the activities, the materials, putting it all together, looking for the videos, the accompanying videos, and producing the flashcards, etc. Finding the right pictures to illustrate so that students will have this as a plus, not only the words, but also the visual image of the Q week, I think was important. See, now you can see the, oh, thank you, Lisa. You can see here the test, and this test, I'm gonna, okay, here, is the first question is quite easy. I just needed to know how much they already knew about this, and the buildings that are the Q weeks, mind you. Then this is the typical, choose 3 buildings, write sentences about. Some of them didn't write a word in the pretest. Then a little bit more, trying to contextualize matching columns because the teacher had shown video where there are nurses and doctors in a hospital, firemen in a fire station, so they would just link. Moving a little bit towards recalling, look at the picture about this town, which buildings do you know? Write the names you can remember. But these are, the picture is slightly different, so some of them did well, some didn't. And here, Daisy had asked me before, and I think I never answered the question, I'm sorry. Complete the sentence to describe your neighborhood. So it was not really filling the gap. It was an open-ended sentence. They really had to produce a sentence. And at this point, they some of them didn't do well again. But then the same test offered them later on, helped them a lot. I mean, they did a lot. So what is it? Why was the second test, sorry,
More
why was the
success.
second? Yes. It could have been many things. The teacher also helped them a little bit further because she decided to leave the concordance lines, available during the post-test.
Mm-hmm.
Did they resort to the same, did they copy? The question would be like this. Did they copy the sentences? No. This is the one thing that called my attention. This is a sign that the concordance lines had really helped. Did they copy exactly, verbatim? No, they didn't.
I see.
So
Okay.
again, I'm open. It's just the beginning. What's gonna happen, I don't know. But I'm very happy to have gone through this.
I would just like to suggest, I'm not sure if you have already read Paredes.
A lot.
2020. Okay. Because
Okay.
it wasn't in
Yes.
the abstract, but I was wondering, because for sure this would be very much helpful and important for your work. But I think I'm very happy, and I congratulate you again, Ana Lucia, and your supervisor, Daisy, on the
Thank you
work.
very much.
Really interesting work, and I'm looking forward to seeing that published because we are doing a very good job here in Brazil. Congratulations.
I would like to thank you and again repeat, I'm honored that you were here, that you take the time to give me so many, to make so many remarks and to give me so many tips on different areas. And by asking me to show you some of it is already, for me, is comforting because I will just look at everything with different eyes. Okay, I do thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a wonderful work, Ana Lucia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you, Elisa.
Yes, I would like to thank you both for your time, your availability. I think it's always good when there's, discussion and when people can exchange ideas and then they can take these ideas, away and get back to their research and improve their research based on, these sessions and these conversations that we're having. So thank you very much. This session will be available on YouTube, so you can always go back to it. That's it. Thank you.
So it will be available. It's not available yet.
As soon as we end the broadcast, then it becomes available because then you can go back and forth and you can see the comments.
Because I'd like to watch again the parts that I might have missed.
Oh yes. But if you want, I can share the link with you. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you all in the next Sataj, in the next event next year.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Elisa.